Hello, friends, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey, back again with some Cowboys rumors and a couple of news items that we'll get into as well. We begin, though, with the rumors side of it. First up, is Dak Prescott the number one priority for the Dallas Cowboys? Yeah, of course he is. It's a no-brainer right there, 4 stars. It's what Stephen Jones said again this week, and it very much sounds like a repetitive chorus coming from the Cowboys front office of, yes, we value Dak Prescott. Yes, we want to get this deal done. It's a big deal, a big priority for us. They've made it clear repeatedly now that Dak Prescott is their guy, and yet there still is no deal for Dak Prescott and for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, getting a deal done also benefits Dallas because it adds clarity to what the firm salary cap situation looks like. Yes, you have a good idea of what it is, but having the exact details is always nice right there. And as a reminder, something we've said for like a year now, getting a deal done now saves you money. The longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes. You already cost yourself money, / Dak made himself more money by not getting it done before the Jared Goff, Carson Wentz deals. Now, the career stats for Dak Prescott, he was better this year. I don't think shouldn't be much doubt about that, yet of course there always seems to be somehow in there. He was better this season. He bet on himself, and it certainly paid off. Here is the quote from Stephen Jones from yesterday, I should say. It's been urgent for us. We certainly want to get that done. That's our number one priority as we go into the offseason, to get his contract done and find some resolution for it. It's nice to hear in the sense that, yeah, of course. Also, let's go already. What are we waiting for? The longer you wait, the more you run the risk of having Dak's contract become even more expensive. If Deshaun Watson and or Patrick Mahomes get their deals done first, the price only goes up. That is the nature of how contracts work in the NFL. The most recent guy gets paid a little bit more than some of the others. Maybe not all of the others, but most of the others. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, veterans. Heck, if you wait and you go the Kirk Cousins route with Dak, it ends up being expensive again. So what should the Cowboys do with Dak Prescott? Type T for tag, P for pay, W for walk. Again, I'm trying to win right now. There aren't any other actual viable options for winning in 2020 that don't include Dak Prescott that, are actually plausible out there. You can tag him if you want, but only if you also get a deal done. Plus, if you tag Dak Prescott, it ends up putting yourself in a position where you can find a way to use that tag on other players as well. Let's talk with some more here about Dak Prescott. Should a holdout happen? No, absolutely not. I hate this idea so much. It's fake news. This is not a good idea for the Dallas Cowboys. This is not the route that the Cowboys, or more importantly, Dak Prescott should go. Look, I know it's always not the most team-friendly thing, but I am in favor of players getting the bag and getting paid and taking care of their long-term interests in terms of money. But a holdout runs a major risk of not just hurting the team, but also hurting yourself. Look, by the end of the year, Zeke was back into his all-pro form, but for the middle part of the year, I don't think he looked quite right. He got going later on. The O-line helped, of course, there. I also don't think a holdout fits Dak's style. He's a good leader. I don't think that's the reality, and that's the route Dak Prescott wants to go. Plus, if you tag him with the non-exclusive tag, which is the route the Cowboys should go, you're making $27 million. I know it may not be the 33 or whatever he would like to get or could get, but I'm going to take that 27 and be happy with it. That's a no-brainer right there. Now, in terms of the money here, I know that Dak wants a long-term deal, understandably so. Jared Goff got paid, Carson Wentz got played. Dak's better than Jared Goff, more healthy than Carson Wentz. You get the deal done. For those of you claiming that the contract will cripple the team, I know that that's the reality of the NFL, that money gets expensive. It's scary there. Also, these quarterback contracts haven't crippled their teams. Big Ben got hurt, so that killed Pittsburgh. That was the issue. Jared Goff Rams still made the playoffs, and his contract hasn't kicked in yet. You will be fine. Yeah, you can't afford everybody, but you'll be fine in the end. Now, I'm trying to help you guys here because Valentine's Day is coming up, and you don't want to be like somebody, I won't name names on this show, who has maybe forgotten about Valentine's Day in the past. I'm saving you 15% off flowers and gifts from Pro Flowers. Go to chatsports.com/flowers. That's chatsports.com/flowers. You'll save 15% off everything. Do it right now. That way, it's out of the way, it's taken care of, and you don't forget, and you don't have to pay for the extra rush shipping. It's chatsports.com/flowers. Check the description, check the comments. We got the link in there for you guys. Let's move on now to Dak Prescott's number one target. That is Amari Cooper. Is he going to stay? I'll give it 3 stars. He's back at the Senior Bowl. The Pro Bowl, excuse me. Saying more of the same stuff. That, yeah, he wants to be with the Cowboys. He means that. He's happy in Dallas. Certainly far more than he was in Oakland there. Stephen Jones called Amari Cooper priority number 2. And it is funny how much things have changed for Cooper from, let's just say, early November to now. At the first 8-9 games of the year was, yeah, no-brainer. You pay Cooper. He's your number one guy. Then things were not right with Amari. He says he wasn't injured. Cowboys say he wasn't injured. He looked hurt to me. He certainly did there. So I do want to bring him back. Figuring out the cost is going to be critical. Those first 9 games for Amari Cooper, he was incredible. And if you exclude the one game he got hurt in, right before his slump kind of began, like, all of a sudden, you're upwards of 85% of the snaps there. He had great production in those 9 games. The last 7 games, he wasn't the same guy. He didn't make anywhere near the impact. The targets go down. The catches, everything dropped down for Amari Cooper. So which Cooper are you getting? Last 7 Cooper, first 9 game Cooper. I'm more inclined to think you'll get the first 9 game. It's also not guaranteed. The highest paid receivers, we want to get a feel for what this deal could look like. You're probably looking at the $18 million price range. If you can get him for less than that, I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued by that. However, I don't want to go above that. And if you want to tag Cooper, I normally don't like using the tag, but that's understandable for this particular scenario because Cooper is expensive. Do you want to pay him over $17 million a year? Cast your votes, type O for over, U for under. And I understand the hesitation from many of you. It's a valid fear. You're about to lock in your core. You're about to lock in Dak, Amari, Zeke coming off an 8-8 year. Now, I don't think the core was your problem there. I feel pretty confident saying that. However, it is understandable to have concerns. But at a certain point, you got to go with what you got because I don't want to sit around here for another 4-year rebuilding period. I've had enough of that in recent history. Let's move on now to Byron Jones, whose future even more murky than Cooper and Dak Prescott. Could he go to the Eagles? God, I hate this idea so much. I'm going to give it 2 stars. I don't like this idea, but it is a possibility. Pro Football Network with Tony Pauline, who is at the Senior Bowl, or the whispers there. Normally, I wouldn't give this one too much credit, or credence, I should say, but I will make note. Byron Jones fills a need Philadelphia, and Tony Pauline often works for the Eagles website for their draft coverage, so I think there's a connection there. Look, the Eagles, as we'll get to, have very little at the cornerback spot. And I think Byron Jones' mindset this offseason is that he is going to get paid. He is ready to get paid here in a big, big way. I know he's only got the 2 career interceptions, but as I've tried to make very clear before, Byron Jones is a shutdown corner. He is top 5 in the NFL in yards allowed per pass coverage snap and catches per pass coverage snap, meaning he doesn't let guys actually get open. The price tag, though, is where things get dicey. You're probably going to be looking at $15 or $14 million for Byron Jones. And corners in free agency kind of give me some concern there. I mean, how many of those guys actually panned out for their team? Probably Xavier Howard, Xavier Rhodes until now, and Patrick Peterson. The guys that go to other teams aren't as good because oftentimes the scheme changes. That's a big red flag for me. But for Byron, look, he's a massive upgrade over what the Philadelphia Eagles have. Ronald Darby, Jalen Mills, both free agents. Then you got guys like Rasul Douglas, Sidney Jones, Avonte Maddox. Byron Jones comes in, instantly their number 1 corner and a huge upgrade there. He's also the number 1 guy for the Cowboys right now. And that's my biggest fear here. You let Byron Jones walk, sure, maybe it helps you retain Robert Quinn. The more and more that as I watch the NFL, the more and more I come to this conclusion. It's really tough to get sacks if your corners aren't covering people. That was an issue, I think, on the away from Byron Jones side of the field. Do you trust Awuzie to be your number one guy? I sure as hell don't. Now you got to go find a new corner, and you're going to be able to in the draft or in free agency. That's a big red flag for me. I would try to keep Byron, but if it's a bidding war, I don't feel great on that front for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we'll keep you updated all off-season long on the Cowboys draft coverage, on free agency, trades, rumors, news, everything here. So if it's your first time watching the show, thank you all so much for watching the Cowboys Report. Hit that big red button and subscribe. That way you know each time we go live or we have a new video out for you guys. Next up, Chris Jones to the Cowboys, not the punter. Instead, got the defensive tackle. I wish this could be true. I want to speak it into existence. I can only give it the 1 star, though. I just don't think it's likely, even though I really want him on the Cowboys. Chris Jones, it would be a fantastic fit for this Cowboys defense. They need defensive tackle help. Chris Jones would come in and be one of your best players on defense. He's a free agent, too. The Chiefs got to pay Patrick Mahomes, but I think they'll find a way to retain Chris Jones. And even if he were to hit the open market, it's going to be a pretty costly bidding war. A very costly bidding war. So it's a dream target, but pretty darn unlikely, and for good reason. Just from a contract perspective, the market very much got reset by Aaron Donald. Now, I do not anticipate Chris Jones getting $22 million, so that's nice. But I think he's going to surpass Fletcher Cox's deal for interior defensive lineman, $18 million. I don't think that's that outlandish for a Chris Jones, maybe even beyond that there. So I'm a huge fan of it in theory, but in practicality, despite the massive impact that Chris Jones would have as he's had throughout his time in the NFL, especially the past 2 years, banged up this year, but that 2018 season was just incredible and was still really damn good this season. It's just not all that likely. So I would do a lot of bad things to get Chris Jones on this team, but the salary cap, your other needs, just makes it a little bit tricky. Plus, the Chiefs aren't dumb. They're probably going to try and re-sign or, worst case, just tag him. So who is your dream free agency target? I tend to believe that Chris Jones is at the very top of my list. Again, free agency, so no Jamal Adams trade requests there. But that one, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I think that free agency-wise, he'd be a fantastic fit for the Dallas Cowboys. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Today's show brought to you by BetDSI. They got some betting odds for Super Bowl 54. Speaking of those Chiefs, they're a 1.5-point favorite over the 49ers. You can place your bet on BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code Cowboys120. One last rumor, then some news items we're going to get into. About bringing in George Edwards on the staff. I almost made this 3 in an attempt to speak it into existence, but I don't want to give you guys false hope, so I'll stick with 2 for now on George Edwards, who you might have heard as the Vikings' now former defensive coordinator. He did interview for a job on the Cowboys staff. He has been the Vikings' defensive coordinator under Mike Zimmer since 2014. He was also, by the way, the Cowboys linebackers coach from 1998 to 2001. So if I can get him, I'm pretty much all in on that. And look at what he's done around the NFL. Past, I should say, 5 jobs, approaching 15 years here. Vikings and Bills defensive coordinator, linebackers coach for Miami, twice actually, and the Cleveland Browns. The question becomes where you find a spot for George Edwards. The initial expectation coming out of this staff, which is not quite 100% finalized, but pretty much is. Mike Nolan's your DC. Jim Tom Sewell is your D-line coach. Scott McCloughan going to be your linebackers coach. So there might not be a position coach available. Two ideas I would consider for George Edwards. Number 1, demote Scott McCurley. Edwards is better. Or find a assistant head coach, defensive assistant coach, whatever title you want to give it, and bring Edwards in on staff. McCurley hasn't done a whole lot of actual linebackers coaching, was always an assistant. So at that point, bring him in, let him help mentor. Nolan's a linebackers coach too. I think you'd have most of your role covered there if you're the Dallas Cowboys. So grade the coaching staff here this year for the Dallas Cowboys. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section here. I'm on the B side. It's not perfect. It's not all the moves I would have made, but it's a good staff. And I think that's a good option. Like, I think it's a really strong start here. We'll see how it all pans out, but I'm certainly optimistic about this Cowboys staff. All right, some news items here. Another defensive coaching note. Leon Lett is sticking on the Dallas Cowboys. He'll remain as an assistant defensive line coach here. Was the DT's coach, the defensive tackles coach last year, which was, kind of the same role he's going to be in. He's the third coach to stay on staff, with Mike McCarthy joining Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier, who moves from tight ends to quarterback. So Lett gets to stay. He'll be back on the staff as an assistant defensive line coach. Some other, I guess it really is minor news items, but still, 2 more players coming in on futures deals for the Dallas Cowboys. Kicker Tristan Vizcaino and defensive tackle Justin Hamilton join the already signed list. Vizcaino worked out for the team during the season. They, of course, eventually signed Kai Forbath. And Justin Hamilton was briefly signed by the team and then cut once they traded for Michael Bennett. Never played any games, but was on the roster. So he joins other Cowboys players who have been signed to futures deals. These are often reserved for practice squad players or players who are young that were on a team. They just come in and they get a chance to compete for a role. Clayton Thorson, Jordan Chung, both practice squad guys, along with Tevin Jones, Cole Picatinny, and Marcus Henry. Then your defensive line guys, Daniel Wise, who was a UDFA out of Kansas, DJ White, and then, of course, Hamilton and Vizcaino, the 2 most recent additions here for the Dallas Cowboys in terms of their futures deals going forward. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.